the weight of it, the area of it, the manageability of it are all issues. Hi guys, welcome back. It's been a bit of an interesting week. Not a lot of video content made. I have been working on the rig. So here's the rig solution that I've been thinking most about. It removes complication. There's one main sheet, one topping lift, one vang. And here's the scenario, which is to me most critical. You can get, like a normal Bermudan mainsail, you can get the sheeting angle fairly easily right here, and when the sail is reefed, like half this area, you can use a system which I've seen used before fairly successfully. This outhaul is on a ring which can slide up and down the mast. If it was a bit sticky, I'm sure there's ways around. I can think of ways of making it move fairly freely along the mast. It would be very easy to sail, half the sail area downwind, but you guys have seen the amount of sail area that I was contemplating having downwind. It's the weight of it, the area of it, the manageability of it are all issues. So this is my understanding of the rig that Jack was suggesting to me in the comments. You can see here that it has a topping lift on the wishbones, has a topping lift on the front, it has a hinge here, and that stops those wishbones rotating, which is really good, because that was a problem with my rig that I had struggled to see my way around. It also has this particular line here, which is a very interesting idea. You'd call it a choker line because it restrains the wishbones from moving forward. It controls the draft of the sail, and this is what I had struggled to get my head around to begin with in Jack's description, because it's a rotating mast. Choker lines are usually attached to a mast that doesn't rotate, which makes life a lot easier. This choker line, he suggested, gets rolled up with the sail and comes out when the sail unrolls. So if you're ever unfurling or furling the sail, you've got to be constantly changing the length of this line, this choker line, which could lead back to the top of the cabin there. That's one thing. Also, when you rotate the masts, because the pivot point is here, away from the mast, the sails will tend to be stretched. The outhaul will be pulling the sail further out when you get to both sails being bat-winged downwind. That's some extra handling there that I noticed there would be a problem. There's also this problem here that when you furl the sail, your angles are wrong. I mean, like a non-such rig here, you can get the wishbone at the right angle, which is roughly 25% of the luff height. I've noticed on the non-such rigs and on the Wiley rigs, and possibly a bit more in some cases. When you get to the situation where you have a reef sail situation, the boom's got to be lowered. Why? Because the boom, the wishbone, would be the wrong angle for the outhaul for this sail. So you'd tend to get a lot of foot tension and not enough leech tension. That's how I see it. That could be achieved by not necessarily changing the topping lift lengths, but letting the topping lifts swing forward and easing the choker line. Then you start to get a situation which is better, although you're starting to get close to this boom hitting your head. And the other thing is with this situation is if you're going downwind, once again, like with full sail, now the hinge is here, so it even exacerbates that situation where with the booms at athwart ships, you are starting to have to ease something to accommodate that for that quite a bit, and it's the outhaul. So it's a lot of lines to handle. I mean, You've still got 2 main sheets, you've got 2 out hauls, you've got topping lifts which don't need so much attention, you've got a choker line which needs attention, and you've got a furlough line. That's getting away from what I wanted for this rig. I'm not comfortable with the amount of lines that would be involved in a rig like this. And if you had a crew of 3 or 4 and you choreographed it, maybe you'd get some good results. But it's a very novel idea, this idea here. So thanks, Jack. I've also been working on the rudder stock a bit, the mounting of that with its pintles on the transom of the boat. So then I can make up the tiller and get the angle right. And I bought an auto helm for $200. It's second-hand, of course, but I kind of need that to set up everything I need to set up for the tiller. Something else I can tick off. So I've pulled it apart to have a good look at it, see if anything needs repairing, to see if it's reliable. So I made a bit of progress with that. Weather hasn't helped, and I've got a bit of a crook knee, so that hasn't helped as well. Something else that's occupied my time a bit this week is I bought a new phone with really good cameras on it. It's a Motorola Signature, which replaces my 5-year-old Motorola 20 Edge, which wasn't getting the updates it needed anymore, and was becoming a security risk. It had a rapidly failing battery, and it had a very cracked screen, so it was about time I did that. But of course, when you transfer all your stuff from one phone to another, you find out what's not going to work anymore. MX Mariner, which I used to use for navigating, as well as Navionics or Garmin, that doesn't work anymore because MX Mariner can't get hold of the raster files anymore, raster chart files. So I've had a look at 1 or 2 other bits of navigation software like OpenCPN. That looks quite good. Orca looks quite good. That's what I'm looking at in the way of navigation. Your ideas and suggestions would be welcome on that one. I've had a look at the squab material for the cushions in the boat, and Adrian and I have had a good discussion about that, and she's steered me away from using anything with patterns because there's already enough going on in the boat without that. We're probably going for a sort of like a denim coloured cushions, something between blue and grey. So my friend Steve will be getting on to making those in the near future. My friend Paul Thompson is coming to stay this weekend, and there's a bit of stainless steel work I'm going to do for him, and he may do a bit of sail making for me, especially if I go for a split junk rig. And I'm sorry to mess you around, guys, but I still haven't given up on the Ljungström yet. The boat would be very satisfying for me to sail if I can get what I've got working well with just one sail instead of the 2. Most of the time, people call it a Ljungström, but to me it isn't really a Ljungström once you go to one single panel sail and lose the ability for wing and wing by having 2 sails on the one mast. But I can see why it hasn't been done much before in the way of what I'm trying with a square top, as well as the whole shoot and match that I'm trying to put together. It gets complicated, and the bearings are always going to be a potential failure point. I think my bearings are quite robust. I've already found out my clamps are not really robust. So that's where I'm at this week. Not a very interesting video to watch, sorry. So I'll end it right here, and thank you for watching once again, especially if you made it this far, and hopefully I'll have more of an interesting video to watch next week. All the best, guys. See ya.